Urgh.
Hello everyone and welcome to another 62-bit review. Today we're going to be talking about Star Fox 64, which seems appropriate with Star Fox Zero having come out earlier today. Now I'm no big-time reviewer with a bazillion subscribers, so I can't do game reviews the day they come out. Unless, Nintendo, other companies... Star Fox 64 was massive when it first came out. Not only is it a huge step forward from the original Super Nintendo game, which was impressive for its own reasons, but it also introduced the world to new technology! That new technology was the Rumble Pack. I still actually have the VHS tape from Nintendo Power that showed you what the Rumble Pack was and how it interacted with the game. But you already know what a Rumble Pack is. Something with impact happens in the game and you feel it in your hands. It was honestly a really big step forward for player immersion, and it's still definitely being used in games to this day. The only difference is it's not an attachment anymore, it's just built straight into all the controllers. The graphics and soundtrack were also really pushing the boundaries of what gaming was capable of at the time. It may not look outstanding in 2016, but in 1997 this game blew us away by its impressive scale of, well, everything. I mean, it has huge 3D space battles! Space battles! Battles in space! What isn't improved by an outer space setting?
Follow my lead as we do this pose together.
Outside of technological improvements, we do see a lot of pushing forward for what the shoot-'em-up genre can really be. A great, simple, easy-to-understand story, relatable characters who have their own individual personalities, different types of ships to battle in, unique bosses, interesting and varied planets for missions, multiple paths leading to the eventual ending. It just had a lot of great things going on. So now that we have a bit of context for the game, let's break down the plot. The setting is an extremely diverse set of planets known as the Lilat system. See, we're already off to a great epic scale. This isn't a battle to save a town or city or country or world. This is a battle to save an entire planetary system, if not more. The evil Andross, who I'll be referring to as Uncle Andross for the remainder of my life, has started destroying the Lilat system with some really gnarly biological weapons from his exiled home world of Venom. It's up to the Star Fox team, composed of Fox McCloud, Peppy Hare, Falco Lombardi, and Slippy Toad, to head to Venom and take him down once and for all. There's definitely some more backstory here that makes the plot come a bit more alive, but I honestly found it fun to discover that through the details and dialogue in the game as I played. You'll cross paths with opposing teams such as Starwolf, take down Uncle Andross's huge biological bosses, save planets from massive invasion forces, and much more as you head towards the evil tyrant. This all sounds pretty basic, right? Bad guys trying to take over the galaxy, you gotta shoot some things and take them all down. Well, that's because it is. But what this game does for plot much better than pretty much every other shoot-'em-up out there, especially at the time, is give you a full world of personality and individual characters. During missions, your team will chat amongst each other, talking about the mission at hand, complaining about each other, asking for help, offering advice, and more. You really are a team with a rich history of working together, and you'll definitely feel like it. Each member of the team also brings something with them that the others aren't able to replace. We'll get more into that later. That's really as far as we need to go into the plot portion, so let's just jump right into some meat and potatoes.
I see him up ahead. Let's rock and roll!
As we've mentioned, this game fits into the shoot-'em-up genre, but this ain't no side-scroller or vertical scroller. This is 3D space shooting action.
All range mode.
Oh yeah! You're mostly on rails traveling through levels with a few options of either going up or down or left or right, but occasionally you'll break off into all range mode and be in a full-fledged 3D war zone. It really makes the game feel more real when it allows you to sometimes switch to that sort of a battle. Something about it just makes everything in the game feel less on rails and more free-flowing. Control is, as one would expect from a first-party Nintendo game, fantastic. It's easy to move your ship around, it's easy to lock onto enemies and target them with your charged homing blast, it's easy to do awesome dogfighting flip maneuvers, it's easy to do a barrel roll to deflect enemy fire. Don't play that clip, we're not doing that, it's been way too overdone. And it's easy to do just about everything else in the game. Killing enemies, flying between obstacles, saving your friends who each have their own health bars and behaviors, and collecting power-ups is all going to feel really good and really fair. The most important question to answer, though, is it fun? The answer is indisputably yes. This game, like so many Nintendo arcade classics before it, is incredibly satisfying. Blowing up ships with your charge shot and having the explosion hit nearby enemies to get that plus 10 bonus is fun. Flying through archways to unlock a different path is fun. Blowing up searchlights with Cat and your crew is fun. Even just pressing C right to answer when Rob calls from your main ship is fun. There are very few games that have such a great sense of fun without sacrificing anything or going into the extremely silly side of things to get you there.
We're Star Fox.
You'll never defeat Andross!
Visually, most Nintendo 64 games have aged very poorly. Games like Castlevania 64 or Daikatana, for example, really show their age, and you see a ton of polygons muddling up the place now. But Star Fox was pretty astounding, especially for 1997. There's a ton going on at all times. Lots of ships, lots of textures, lots of different effects. It's really presented well. If the graphics do look too dated to you, you can pick this game up on your 3DS for some updated visuals and the same fun experience, but we're really not here to talk about that today. The visual presentation really kicks it up a notch when you consider just how much variety there is in terms of planets. Every single level looks and feels different. Going from a star-filled asteroid field to a planet of flames to an underwater world is really satisfying and makes your quest feel much more grand. Variety is king here, and they did it extremely well. The soundtrack is also excellent thanks in large part to the legendary composer Koji Kondo. Tracks are appropriately large and epic to match the scale of the game. You'll really feel like the hero team as you travel through. When the action kicks up with bosses, you'll feel the tension rise, and when Star Wolf comes into play, well, there's definitely a reason Star Wolf is so memorable.
Don't get too cocky, Star Fox.
Let's see how you handle our new ships.
Sound effects are satisfying and not too intrusive, which is a very common problem for many shoot-'em-up games with so much action going on. You'll know when you're low on life taking damage because of clever use of sound effects. You'll know when your bombs are blowing up and tracking opponents. You'll know when you're doing damage to a boss and not just shooting them where they aren't vulnerable. They do a great job. But wait, are we missing something here? Don't worry, we definitely didn't forget. Perhaps the main reason this game is so memorable to so many people is the voice acting.
Andross has ordered us to take you down.
Happy, long time no see. Andross's enemy is my enemy. Just what I need to see. Star Wolf.
There is a ton of dialogue in this game, and nearly every single line is quotable. This is honestly what I believe pushes the game from being a good Nintendo 64 classic to being a legendary must-play video game. Every bit of dialogue adds something to the game. Whether it's Falco's smarmy remarks, Slippy constantly needing help,
Quit dinking around, Flip.
Peppy's advice, or a taunting boss. It all adds to how the game makes you feel. If you've played this game, you definitely have these quotes stuck in your brain. And I mean like forever. You'll never forget these. But it really isn't just about how quotable they are. This is what makes the game feel alive. This is what pushes you to believe that you really are a team. And this is what makes you feel like your mission is important. All this active dialogue gives them a brilliant way to deliver important story moments and reveal character history without stopping any of the action. A thing of critical importance in the genre. That's not to say that sometimes you won't get a bit of dialogue here or there in between missions, but even that seems to work better than just lumping a bit of story here or there in the game. This game isn't outrageously difficult to beat, but it has a really clever way of making itself tougher if you want it to be. Your main map screen has a lot of different paths which you can travel. This is one of those great touches that makes the game feel more alive, but that isn't the map's only function. It's also your difficulty selection. You'll have to achieve certain objectives in each level in order to move toward the middle or higher path for yourself. Doing so will make the game harder, certainly, but in my opinion, much more satisfying as well. Mission objectives will be making sure that your entire team has survived during the mission, flying through archways, killing enough enemies, and more. It's also worth noting that keeping the team alive is of great benefit to you. Falco can provide you with not only some extra firepower, but also helping you find secret paths and giving you power-ups. Peppy offers you consistent and excellent advice to help you out, and Slippy is able to give you a glimpse of the health bar of your planetary bosses. You can also only get the true ending if you get to Venom from the high path. Otherwise, it's worth noting that certain levels use different vehicles, such as the Blue Marine or the Landmaster. The Landmaster is incredibly satisfying, and the Blue Marine is, well, alright, it's not as good as the rest of the game, but it's honestly still pretty fun, and the torpedoes lighting up the dark waters is a really cool effect. But if you're like me, you're going to want to play every level of the game either way, just because it's so much fun to play. And just with that, you've got a ton of replay value already. On top of that though, each level has a score to meet in order to get a medal as a reward. Get a medal on every single level in the game to unlock Expert Mode, a much more difficult version of the same game. And even those levels have medals as rewards for reaching a high enough score. That all sounds like a lot of game though, right? Well, one of the best things about this game is that you can really pick it up and play it at any time, whether you just have 20 minutes or have a full 2 hours. Missions are nice and compact, but each one is satisfying enough to warrant a quick playthrough. But if you do have the time to finish, it is always satisfying to take Uncle Andros down and watch the great credit sequence. On top of all that gameplay, we haven't even mentioned the multiplayer. This game takes multiplayer dogfighting to the next level. It was one of the first times we were able to play in this style against each other without it being an outrageously convoluted PC game experience or just a bland, ugly mess. You can fight with either an R-Wing, the Landmaster, or as just one of the characters running around on foot with a bazooka. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I think the multiplayer is fantastic here. If you get people together who have a roughly similar skill, you are going to have a good time, just because the control is so solid. There aren't a lot of maps though, and most of them are locked into R-Wing only, but the multiplayer options are great to have. To summarize everything we've gone over, this game is just great. It really is a must-play game. It won't set you back too many dollars, and it doesn't require a huge time investment to play it through either.
The gameplay controls extremely well regardless of if you're on rails or in all-range mode or on the Landmaster and the R-Wing or even on foot in multiplayer. And it's really fun to complete all the challenges the game throws at you. The visuals are great and extremely varied. The music will ramp up the epic scale to match the varied world you're going to be visiting. Sound effects don't get in your way and clearly convey what is happening in the game. The voice work is astounding and honestly makes the game a much better and more memorable experience through and through. The difficulty, for the most part, is not incredibly high, but the option for harder levels does exist, especially if you want to take the time to unlock Expert Mode. Multiplayer is a great add-on if you have equally skilled players, and the replayability is extremely high. You'll be able to pop this game in anytime.
I highly recommend you do a playthrough of Star Fox 64 to put you in the right mood for the just-released Star Fox Zero on Wii U. I am definitely glad I played it through before picking up the new game. I'll be streaming it on Twitch this upcoming week, by the way. Twitch.tv/62bitgaming. There will definitely be a link somewhere on the screen and definitely in the description. You can go ahead and follow me on there right now if you like. I'll just be announcing a sweet giveaway and finishing the video while you're on another tab. If you've already followed on Twitch, make sure you subscribe here on YouTube if you want to see more regular content. If you like this video, please click that like button and leave some comments down below. If you didn't like the video, you are equally welcome to hit that dislike button and leave me some constructive criticism. As far as our sweet giveaway goes, I am not giving away my childhood copy of Star Fox 64. It's got my name written on it and all my scores, and that's just not happening. I'm sorry. What we are giving away is this bad boy. These pins were given out last year at E3, and they're definitely some high quality stuff. They have some real heft and weight to them. I'll be giving these away to either a random person who comments on the video or somebody who tweets it out. If you do end up sharing this video on Twitter, make sure that you tag me at 62bitgaming. Do both of those things and you get 2 entries. There is one thing I want from everyone who's watching though. I want your favorite Star Fox 64 quotes in the comments below. Bonus points if you guys are able to have a full conversation back and forth using just quotes from the game. Anyone who was a kid at the time has definitely done that. I just think it'd be fun to see. There's a lot of quotes though, so choose wisely. And may the Force be with you. Wait, that's not from Star Fox. What I meant was...
Do a barrel roll!